Guys, back with another video. Today, I'm going to let you know whether I think BRRR is dead. The market's crazy, inflation, cost of living, interest rates are through the roof. That's what you all keep hearing. So I am going to a Property Circle members HMO that we've featured before on this channel. And I'm going to ask some questions, see where he's at with the refinance, and see, did the BRRR work for him in the current climate? And then I'm going to give you my thoughts on how I think that you can overcome any adversities in the market right now. Here we are, guys, we're inside the property, 7-bedroom HMO with a flat in the back garden. You probably remember it from last time. I'm here with Jag, the owner. We're going to have a conversation about the BRRR method, rentals, everything that I mentioned earlier in the intro. Right now, take a look at this before and after. So, 8 months later, we're back.
Yes.
How have you found the refurb process?
It's been ups and downs, just like with everything else. But with a good build team around me, they've been sort of on the ball. They've guided me. We've helped each other. So it was relatively smooth. The only thing that I would say was two main things, which I thought was difficult during this refurb. Because we're in a conservation area, working alongside the local authority is one of the hardest things you will ever have to do as a property investor. And the second thing was we were in unprecedented times. So the cost of raw materials as the process was going was just escalating on a week-to-week basis. They're the two main things.
You could see that week by week, I'm presuming. Every time you was ordering something, and then the week after,
Totally.
just escalating all the time.
All the time.
You know, you mentioned the conservation area. So obviously you dealt with a conservation officer.
Yeah.
The person that you dealt with, obviously don't say any names.
Yeah.
Did he make your life difficult, as in he wanted everything done a certain way, which they do, or was you trying to fight back with certain things as well?
No, I wasn't fighting back because I was advised by our, we've got a building regs guy, private building regs guy on board with us. So they advised us, look, to work with them. Don't be sort of aggressive or anything. That's not going to work. But they were more sort of like, I felt sorry for them in a way. They're backlogged to the hilt and they haven't got the staff. They're understaffed completely. So there could be one person looking after sort of 30, 40 projects in the city at any one time. So it's just a matter of playing ball with them and doing a softly approach. Because if you could, what's the word? If I pee them off, they could obviously make my life much more difficult. So it's one of those things, really.
It's a tip that I give to everybody that's around me. I always say, conservation officers, if you're going to use the council, building inspectors, play nice. Try not to bat too much back at them that you're trying to get change. Try and work with them. Keep it flowing.
100%.
You want a good relationship
100%.
with these types of people. It's quite important. When I walk around here now, finish is top quality. Cool. Really, really cool finish. Really nice. 7 bedrooms. And obviously, like you said, had a few issues in the previous video where he's waiting for certain things and stuff like that and things like that. Going forward now with the refinance, right? Because you're planning on keeping this, aren't you?
I am. I was shaky at one point because we don't know how the market was going. So just sort of before Christmas, when we had sort of the whole government change and the market went to pot, basically, I was quite scared. I wasn't sure how things were going to play out. But we're stable now, so I think we want to keep it as a long-term sort of hold, and it's going to be on the BRRR strategy, basically. That's what we're going to use on this one.
So the higher interest rate can be offset with the higher rental.
Yes.
So it does work.
Yes.
It's just that the media are not telling people about the rentals and stuff like that.
That's right. It's always skewed to one side. If you've got to sort of look at all avenues, and then you get a much better picture of the actual playing field.
Yeah. Tip I can give you guys at home as well. If you are looking at higher rentals, which is across the board, everybody's getting more money at the minute compared to last year, just make sure you have some precautions in place. Get the agents, if you're using an agent, to make sure that they vet the tenant correctly. make sure the tenant has got a full-time job, make sure the contract is lasting for a minimum certain of time, and also if you can get a guarantor in place for the person who's renting the property, that will massively de-risk your situation. So a little tip there for you guys. So we're about to get into the best part of the property, which is the numbers, and we're going to find out whether you can pull your money out, what the situation is, how the market's going, what the lenders are saying. But before we do that, take a look in the garden. If you remember last time we was here, well, what you were about to see wasn't.
Going underground, 'cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, yeah. Going underground.
So, the numbers. We have inflation.
We have.
Cost of living, interest rates apparently going through the roof.
Yeah.
And every single person who is new to the property world is in panic mode.
Yeah.
So you're about to refinance. You're about to turn this into the BRRR strategy, and your broker is starting to look next week for lenders.
That's right.
What are the numbers? Where are we at? What have you spent? What's your total outlay so far, broken down?
The actual purchase was around about 380,000. That's including all the fees and stamp duty. We budgeted for the actual construction of the whole place. Top end was 150,000. That's top end. That's not including things like, say, like painting, decorating, and fridges and that kind of stuff. So with all that included, I was around about the 167. With inflation during the time that we were doing this project, we ended up being at just over 195,000.
Okay.
So we were about 29,000 over budget.
Okay.
That was because of basically raw materials.
So you're at 575?
Yeah, about 575.
Okay. All in, £575,000. You've had a few valuation people around, haven't you?
So last week I had 3 people come over just to give it a once over before I speak to my broker, essentially. So it's a bit of a mixed bag because we're in sort of uncertain times as such. So just as an idea, the top end valuation that we've had is 700,000 for this and the flat at the back altogether.
Yeah.
And then we've had valuations as low as 650,000. I personally think it's worth the 650, but the market dictates what something is worth at the end of the day. So I have heard that a lot of, on the BRRR strategy at the moment, a lot of lenders are down valuing. I think that's leveled off a bit, but I've heard that over the last few months.
They've all been actually told.
They've been told.
They've been told to down value.
From what I understand, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a kind of a 10%. Well, they think the market's going to drop by 10% at worst this year, so they're factoring that 10% into the valuations right now.
It's like a safety net and a precaution because obviously everybody wants the highest valuation.
Exactly.
If you've got a house that's worth as this 650 and you can get 7, everybody wants to think that the more is better.
Yeah.
But that's not actually the case. Right. The matter of fact is you need to make sure that your payments and your rental income and everything all stack up across the board.
Exactly.
And some people don't actually take that into account, but the valuation officers are down valuing. They've been told to down value.
That's right.
Bracing themselves for what could potentially happen.
That's right.
So it's good for people like us, but people like us, because you're quite experienced in this industry, we always want to err on the side of caution.
Exactly. It's a long-term thing. We're not looking to make a quick buck out of it. This is like it's going to be a long-term hold. So if we got 100,000 sat in this property, that's not the end of the world.
Well, it's a year and a half's worth of rent.
Exactly. So the rent roll, like we spoke about earlier on, you're nudging nearly £60,000 a year rent out of this property. So having 100 in there, it's not the end of the world. Exactly.
No, it's great returns when you think of it like that.
Return,
and also, when you've got your management agent fee to take out, which is around 10, 12%, something like that, it's unbelievable. So the rental for this 7 bedrooms, you're looking at around, I don't know, £5,000 a month?
Yeah,
for the 7?
Yes, average, because obviously 4 rooms with ensuite, 3 without, so we'll average it out about £5,000
a month. And then you've got your 1 bedroom flat out the back.
Yes.
Which is going to be around What is it going to be?
Well, initially I thought it was 650 last year
Yeah.
to 700, and then it's now gone to 800. I had an agent come in last week and he's told me it's closer to 1,000.
Yes.
This is how mad the market is.
But you've done a deal at £800.
I've done, yeah.
with
So
somebody?
I've shook on it, and I'm not going to go back on my word.
Which
and
is
say,
nice.
Yeah, so that is what it is. So I'll be at 800.
Okay, but it is worth £1,000.
Totally.
Yes,
so he's
it
getting a
is.
deal.
He's getting a great deal.
He's getting an absolute
Maybe
steal.
he could manage the property for you.
Probably, yeah.
That would work.
I need a gardener anyway.
Yes. So you're looking at, for the whole place, £5,800 a month, roughly, on average. And like you said, when you worked it out, you're bordering on, your £70,000 a month, a year, for a return on it. If it's coming at just under 6,
Yeah,
so 72.
so that's top end. That is top end. I always try to err on the side of caution. I don't try to. So some agents do give like amazing figures, but maybe it could be just to lure you into use.
Well,
their
you've got to
agency,
have
so
full occupancy,
exactly,
which is important.
Exactly.
And me and you had a conversation off camera about maybe approaching the hospital.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
And getting them on a long-term contract, which would be pretty cool for you. This is your first HMO, isn't it?
Yeah, everything else
you
is
are a buy-to-let specialist.
Standard AST landlord. So this is the first HMO that I have in the portfolio. Again,
would you do it again?
Yeah, I would do it again.
Okay.
I would do it again. It's not easy, but nothing worthwhile is ever easy. No. So it's a no-brainer. And I think in the current market as well, with rents being so high and the cost of living going through the roof, the demand for HMO rooms are unreal. They are literally unreal. Everyone I've spoken to, I've got good friends who have HMOs, a number of them. And they just, as soon as they put something out on spare room, it's gone. It literally is gone. It's unreal. So
it's amazing.
At the moment, the strategy works very well.
Yeah. So the BRRR strategy, in your eyes, if you get the valuation based on what you want, it works for you.
Totally.
So,
but it works. I mean, you have to, like I said, cautious is the thing. Last year we were in a weird situation whereby the market was obviously all over the place. But with utilities going crazy and the market going crazy and property prices maybe coming off, you think it's not going to work. But you'd have to factor in the fact that rents are going through the roof as well. So if you get those numbers relatively correctly, you should be all right.
Yeah.
It's all about your numbers.
It's all about your numbers.
All about your numbers.
Everything in this industry is about numbers.
That's it.
But I appreciate you inviting us down here.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Having me.
Sensational job.
Thanks,
from what
man.
we saw. Absolutely incredible. I think it's amazing. And I will update every single person on the weekly for what you got for it, what your actual final valuation was, which will be really cool. And thank you very much.